son of a bitch.
That's right. Welcome back to the show, you guys. We are talking Bohemian Grove. We talked about the cremation of care last week. Everything you need to know about the beginnings of Bohemian Grove, how it got started, and where it's going today. We even predicted, hey, what if the Burning Man is today's
Bohemian Grove?
Yeah, we did. The Bohemians are now going to a different spot because, you know, what really happened is that they got overrun by the Republicans and said, "Fuck it, let's go to the fucking, let's go to the desert."
It got hijacked.
I'm
yeah,
not
let's
going
go
to
to the middle of the
throw it
desert.
on the Republicans, but I would say more and more people are knowing about it, and more stuff is coming out. So their secret isn't secret anymore. So obviously they're going to have to move. Like they can't just keep doing the same thing at the same place
and
at the same time.
Let me ask you a question.
When
Nick.
everybody knows about
What's the final little ritual that happens at the end of Burning Man?
I don't know shit about Burning Man.
It's literally in the name.
They burn the man.
They're
That's
burning
at the,
the
end?
man.
I thought that was. I figured that was
at the beginning, like the cremation.
See, the beginning is at Bohemian Grove. They
go from Grove to Burning Man.
No. Take it easy. No, the Bohemians are now the real Bohemians, the artists, the musicians. They are really at Burning Man now, and they're the ones at the end. They're just like, fuck it. We had this.
But so are the
we had
tech
this
wizards.
burning of care that happened in the beginning of the show or the beginning of the encampment. Now let's do it at the end instead. Because they stole it. Because they're still doing it. They're like, fuck these guys. Suck it.
Right, they're still burning something.
We're going to be doing our own fucking thing. So, we wanted to keep talking about...
I got theories about Burning Man, but that's a different show. Right now we're talking about the
Bohemian.
Grove.
You're right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Let's get back on that.
You know, and we kept digging and digging. There's so much more to talk about. And so, we called someone that's about resisting the Grove. And if you type in Resist the Grove on Facebook, you'll find a Facebook group called Resist the Grove, coincidentally.
Weird that's just what you type
I know,
in.
that's crazy, right?
It's kind of amazing. But you will find, and if you actually, Brandon, you went and you talked to them and you said, hey, man, we're doing an episode on Bohemian Grove. Why don't you come and talk to us? So
yeah,
we found someone, and his name is Sean Ackley. Sean, and he's on the line right now. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys.
Hey, man.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
So, Sean, welcome. This is Nick Ryder over here. My name is Los, L-O-S. My friends call me Los. That's right. And this is Brandon, the hard hat. That's right. So,
I think that one's gonna stick.
I think I like that one the best. So, Sean, welcome to the show, first of all. And what do you do for a living? Let's get some background on you, Sean. What do you do? Why are you going to these gates? What are you doing at the gates? Just give me some background on you, Sean. It's all yours.
Absolutely. So, personally, I've been involved in basically like computers and servers and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like a technology geek. I'm 48 years old. So I've been doing it for quite some time, and I personally started researching and looking into a lot of these issues, including the Grove, around 2008.
So 2008, okay, so about the time you were like...
My journey started around 2006, but the Grove thing started around 2008 when I kind of learned about the different networks, and we'll talk about the Franklin cover-up and stuff like that.
Now, when you say your journey started, what does that mean? What journey are you on?
Yeah, my journey of... basically suggesting that all the life that we lead and that what we've learned and what they taught us in school is all bullshit. Right?
That's fucking right. Well, a lot of it is.
So then I started turning into like a history buff and a history researcher, because I'm like, what the heck is going on with my knowledge? Because we're over bombing countries, and I didn't even know who Osama bin Laden was and stuff like that. And I had a friend of mine call me out on the floor, man. He said, you know, I'm not even going to talk to you basically about politics until you look up Osama bin Laden and the CIA. And as soon as you do that, I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. So I did that, and he was right. And I was like, wow, I never even knew any of this stuff existed like this. I thought, I mean, of course I had my skepticisms about the government. Any regular American should have skepticism.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I was like, I didn't understand the depth that it went.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found that out, then that put me on a journey where I learned, and I'm continuing to learn about, the truth that's out there.
So Sean, where do you get your information? Do you have any access to research libraries, or are you just like us? We get what we can get on the internet.
Absolutely. So obviously, the age of the internet. I'm not like, I learned it on the internet. It's true,
right? I mean, you can find anything on it. You just got to know how to search for the real shit and not the internet
get
part.
You on that one, right? Yeah. Because it's funny, but the internet has real research material. Yes. I actually go to newspapers. I have a newspaper subscription that I can search through thousands of periodicals.
Nice.
JSTOR and all kinds of other stuff like that. And then I have a gigantic book library. If I could move my camera around, which I can't, but I'm looking at 1,000 books right now when I'm sitting.
Dude, awesome, man.
You have my attention.
And anything from, and
I know a Bohemian Grove book.
Shit.
Bohemian Grove book.
I'm very interested in that book right away.
Yes.
Yeah, that's by Mike Hansen. And then that's
Mike Hansen. That's
yeah.
But then anything like, G. Edward Griffin talking about the Federal Reserve and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So that's my history basically there. But what got me into Bohemian Grove was researching the Federal Reserve.
Really?
And after you
because it was thought up there, wasn't it?
What's that?
At least allegedly, it was thought up there.
You guys said that, and I never heard that. So, I mean, that doesn't make it false or anything. I don't know. That's a very interesting concept, because the book that I read, several of them, was talking about Jekyll Island and how they got together in New York, and they came together to design the Federal Reserve. I always thought it was an East Coast thing.
Well, they're obviously part of the propaganda. We obviously have the true story here.
Yeah. No, I think it was initially discussed about the idea of a Federal Reserve at the Bohemian Grove, and the details were worked out.
And they
at
killed
Jekyll Island.
They killed all the opposers on the Titanic there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
there actually is actually the Titanic that sunk was a different ship, right? It was a sister ship.
Yes, the Olympic.
So, check out our
Olympic.
That's actually more history than anyone's that usually is care to admit. The windows are all different and everything. Anyways, that's a whole other subject.
Well, hold up a second, Sean. We do want to mention that was one of our episodes. We did Robin Gardner's theory on the Titanic being switched from the Olympic to the Olympia or whatever it was, Olympic. To the Titanic, and we did debunk the shit out of that, but regardless, Titanic did seem like a way to get rid of some people, even though it wasn't switched to my eyes. I can still see the whole Federal Reserve thing being a possibility there, even though
they
not
were intending that ship to sink. They knew that was going down.
Well, thank you for
so they
me
put
up.
people on it. Intending it to go down.
Yeah,
so.
J.P. Morgan did that, and J.P. Morgan had
a stand-up guy.
Yeah, he was. I must say I do use his bank, but it's not because I'm ignorant. It's just I need a fucking bank, and they're okay.
There are other banks.
There's quite a few.
You're right.
And there are even credit unions.
Everyone says that. Go use a credit union. Yeah, I'm not gonna do what's not broke.
I bet you're a credit union guy.
Yeah, are you a credit union guy?
It's actually not a credit union, but it's a small town family run bank.
That's just as good. That's just as good.
Which is what I recommend people do.
Yes.
In fact,
keep your money local.
Using Chase or Wells Fargo or Bank of America, I think, is insane. So
yeah.
So Sean, where in the world are you exactly?
He's with Carmen San Diego.
So I live in a city called Brentwood, which has trees of its own. Actually, not groves of redwoods, but and then it's the Bay Area, right? It's the Bay Area, Northern California of California. California, an hour, 2 hours? About 2 hours, from Bohemian Grove.
So it takes you, so you're in the heart of San Fran then, if that's the case.
Pretty much, absolutely.
Well,
okay. Because
Bay Area, I mean, that's so you're like north of it? Are you... Obviously, being the heart of it would be San Francisco.
Well, I live east of the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. So you're just like inland.
Yeah, I live east, which is like hot. We're in like a Central Valley type of a thing out here.
Oh, I see.
So,
yes. Yeah, San Francisco. He's east of San Francisco there.
Right. It's like when I lived in LA, you had the IE, the Inland Empire, like San Bernardino and stuff.
That's correct.
Just straight inland.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then the Redwood Empire is north of San Francisco, right?
Yes, and that's where we're going to find.
For me to get to the Redwood Empire, I have to go diagonally, like across the triangle, you know?
Yeah, and that's where we're going to find the Redwood Forest.
Is it the 5? Is it the 5 that does that?
101.
101. Oh, the 101.
Yeah,
Highway 5 goes up to Sacramento.
That's right.
Yes,
right.
And it's actually he's actually.
See, I never took that north of Van Nuys anyway. Ventura.
Well, 5 is like Sacramento to Los Angeles is what Highway 5 is.
Right.
And then 101 goes up past Monterey and all of the places north, all the way up to Oregon, and then it goes all the way down to Los Angeles, also through the coast.
Yeah. We're getting boring here with the fucking the 5 freeway. But I can see
people need to know this when they go on vacation.
I can see he's about 20 miles from. He's 20 miles west of the 5 freeway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can give you a quick. Basically, that's my background and kind of how I went down this journey.
Please.
And then quickly on the Grove itself, I met a few guys in the process of Federal Reserve research and actually protesting in front of the Federal Reserve. And one of those guys was Doug Millar. And Doug Millar is a researcher into the pedophile network and child abductions and Michael Aquino and so forth.
Oh, really?
Talked about Colonel Michael Aquino. And then it just kind of went from there. So.
Okay. Sorry, Nick's trying to
I was saying, write those names down. You're looking at these
I
names.
know Michael Aquino. Temple of Set, bitch.
No, but Doug Millard. Come on.
Doug Millard is a good guy. I haven't met him, but I'm sure he's a good guy. He's terrific. I'm telling you, he's terrific.
All right.
And of course, I can follow up with any of the names or links later. If you
I was like, we need to look into this stuff. Yeah. So I was just trying to get you to write stuff down so we could look into it.
Well, is Doug Millard associated with Michael Aquino?
Oh, no. I mean, Doug Millar is a researcher. He worked with Ted Gunderson. Have you guys heard of Ted Gunderson?
That name does sound familiar from some of the reading that I've done.
Tell us who he is.
Sure. So Ted Gunderson is ex-FBI, or was. He's no longer with us. But he ran a division of the FBI in Los Angeles. And through that, he learned about the pedophile networks on the West Coast.
It's a big fucking deal.
I only learned about the pedophile networks that were on the East Coast from the Franklin cover-up, book basically. But I didn't even know about the West Coast stuff. And then Ted met a few people. One of them was Doug Millar, and then Doug was an investigator, or is. Well, he's retired now, so I guess you would say he was an investigator.
Yeah.
He's not dead. Doug is still with us. And essentially, I interviewed Ted, and I've interviewed Doug, and got a lot of information about true rabbit hole. I mean, this is like, you want to talk about rabbit holes, this is the true rabbit hole stuff. Ted has thousands of hours of discussion, interviews, and research on all of just the craziest stuff about children and just crazy, like slavery and stuff like that.
Is that his, I guess, I wouldn't say forte, but his main interest in investigating is the child pornography,
pretty
the
much, exactly.
ring?
When he got into that, he was hired by some family members and stuff, and he I know, as far as I can tell, he sounded like he was just honest, a good guy. Like he wanted to find out what was going on. So then he actually hung up his FBI career and went private investigator, and then that's essentially what he did. And then he ran around the country with one of his private investigator friends, and they would investigate all this stuff. And then after all of those years, then he went on the circuit to talk about it, right? Onto the conspiracy and talk circuit.
Yeah, man, my goodness. Okay, so Let me ask you a question here, Sean. Now,
Seems like we need to have him on many times on many different subjects.
Yes.
Like
he seems to be a gold mine in
Sean
conspiracy.
back on a lot of different issues here.
Sean, you've gone to the Grove. You've been at the gates of Grove. How many years have you been going to the Grove?
Personally, I've been there 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? That's 5 years.
About 5 years.
It's 5 weekends. I actually don't go back. I don't have some fetish for the Grove or anything like that. I've been there, for 5 years consecutive. Some of the guys that I've hung with have been there since 2008, and that's kind of how I learned about it. And then we had a very large presence in 2012 as well. And Doug Millar was there in 2012 leading that effort. And I had some crazy conflict that I couldn't be there. And I don't know if you say regret, but it was a big event and I wasn't able to attend. So then I told myself that I would block my schedule out every year since then to make sure that I was there and talk to people at the Grove.
So you made it there this year, right? On the 15th?
I was there this last Saturday. That's correct.
And so what do you like? You're because I mean we've Google mapped and we've watched videos. So there's anybody can go into the Bohemian Grove,
right.
I guess. But there's that one road that says
it's Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Road
Avenue, and then there's the road off of it that says not a through street or whatever that you're not supposed to go down.
Google Maps stops right there,
and Google Maps won't even let you go down there. So is that where you stand? That's obviously the road that goes into the elite business.
That's right. So there's multiple videos, not only on our Facebook page, but just from other people as well, where you'll clearly see that there's a cow gate that goes over the pavement, and then it's the do not pass private property signs and everything. And then we kind of hang out right in front of that gate. There's this little DMZ that goes between the official Grove entrance and the gate, and that's kind of where limos park and stuff. So they won't get overly upset if you go there and then talk to people, but they don't want you hanging out there. That's just for dropping people off or I don't know.
And so
if you have to go in and talk to the sheriff or something like that, because there's always a sheriff presence, and there was a CHP presence this year.
So hold up a second, Sean. So you're telling me there's police guarding this place right now?
Well,
that's correct. So for 3 weeks, there was 3 weeks last month and 3 weeks this month. This month is the encampment, and essentially they paid the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department $144,000 this year to cover the cost of guarding the Grove.
Ooh,
for 1 month essentially, or 2 months?
For essentially a 2-month period, yes.
Jeez.
Wow.
So I used to think it was Bilderberg Group, they're having all these cops, and who pays these cops? The taxpayers, us, and they're gathering up. So in this case, they actually have already paid them off with their own money because, of course, they can pay it. They've got the almighty dollar in their hand, and so they paid off.
That's kind of a misnomer for Bilderberg too. It's not. It is essentially. I'm sure a lot of it comes from public money because they like stealing from us anyways.
Of course,
but it does come from the membership dues. So Bilderberg pays for all of those police and military and everybody out of the Bilderberg fund. We call Bohemian Grove Bilderberg West.
Right.
I'm not even sure if that came from Anthony Hilder or somebody, but somebody had called it Bilderberg West at some point. And then the name just stuck. But yeah, last year it was $89,000, and this year it was $144,000. So I guess inflation and maybe they needed more money this year. So
yeah, you're right. And I
just need to up protection every year because there are more people
worried about Alex Jones.
Yeah, so they look in the woods and they go, "Holy shit! Did you see Alex Jones? He's in the wood. He's like a boogeyman now.
He's creeping around."
When you're standing there with people, you're right at the gate. Are you seeing the limos or the cars or the people driving in and they're driving right by you, or how is this? We're gonna
absolutely so
picketing or what did?
Yeah, no, that's the primary reason why we're there. Actually, for those people who have the stamina, we tell them to get there on Thursday because Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the best time to actually be there. Okay. And personally, I'm just there on a Saturday, and from anywhere between 9 and 4 p.m. And during that entire time, in the morning especially, you'll see people coming out for lunch. Okay. And then you'll also see like employees and Grove members, like they'll want to walk around. They're not allowed to take phone calls inside for business purposes, so they have to go out of the Grove to take phone calls.
So they'll come back up out of it. Once they go in, they're not just there. They'll come back out.
They will come back out. That's right. So we actually see Grove members, and we record them with video cameras going in and out of the Grove, and we do that for as many hours as we're there. Wow.
Fuck yeah.
And we also do, of course, we don't have any like facial recognition. It's nothing high tech or anything. It's really just for recording. It's just for recording the event. It's nothing. Right. We don't. Not only do we have any ability to like search through any type of law enforcement database, but we also have no interest in it because I, quite frankly, don't really want to knock on the door, by the authorities going, "Why are you looking into such and such Grove member?" Know, and I'm for the research and basically taking it as far. You guys ask like maybe why I don't actually try to infiltrate the Grove or something. I just go as far personally. Now, there's other members that do other things, but personally, I go as far as I'm comfortable with, as far as being a researcher, and that's kind of what I am. I'm comfortable with being a researcher, reading books, getting people together, talking to people, and kind of understanding these problems that exist at the Grove.
Sean, are you
some of these topics we might talk about?
Are you worried about maybe if you do infiltrate this place that you might not leave this place? Is that a concern of yours? Is why you're not
like
going
repercussions?
In? There's got to be some repercussions.
There would be repercussions. We had a member, Doug Millar, in fact, last year.
Tell me.
Was pushed into a line of sheriff deputies and was actually arrested and taken to Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. So the repercussion of that was that Doug was no longer able to be at the Grove for the rest of the day. Now, although he didn't actually commit a crime, he was still taken away, right?
Right.
And which was unfortunate. But so I would rather like be at the Grove the rest of the day. So why would I want to do something that would get me caught and sent to jail?
But maybe that's a chance where you see or discover something.
Why
like
couldn't
if you stand out there out in front of the Cowgate, you're not gonna.
No, and that's so that's a fair question actually, because there's a group called BGAN, or the Bohemian Grove Action Network, which has been protesting in front of the Grove for a very long time, and they actually have members that will do civil disobedience and infiltrate the Grove, chain themselves to the gates and stuff like that for various numbers of reasons, and that's just their choice.
But why not just like
for me
sneak into the Grove? Like, like we can say, oh, easily Alex Jones did it, but I have some evidence thinking maybe he wasn't.
Did he?
Yeah, I don't think he just snuck in. Maybe he was invited, but the way he got in, like, do you see a way that you could, even though you're not interested in going inside, do you see a way that you could actually infiltrate this place?
You mean during the 3-week encampment, you mean?
Yeah, during
both. What is it like when it's not?
Well, hold up. I do want to touch on what happens there after when it's not happening in Bohemian Grove. We'll touch on in a second, but like you as an observer,
what's going on? And you're standing out at the gate. Like, do you see an entrance that you think you could possibly slip in, hide for a second, watch the cremation of care yourself? Do you think there's any way that you can infiltrate?
Even though you don't want to, there's got to be you have to have seen and planned it out over the years. Has that happened before?
Well, I mean, there are in fact multiple videos of people talking about just that. There's some drone footage from this year.
I saw some
2017 that's on YouTube. There's guys that have driven into the Grove during off season and just simply driven around. Mike Hansen has come back. Chris, or what used to be what his pen name was, is Kyle.
Yeah, Bohemian Kyle.
Of the Grove, and I actually interviewed Kyle. His name is Chris, but
Chris Jones.
I interviewed him down in LA, and there are definitely ways to get in. It's a large grove, right? I mean, it's 2,700 acres. Of course, there's ways to get in. I'm guessing throughout the years that there's probably more tripwire, electronic sensors and listening devices.
I would think if it's like the world's super elite meeting, that they would have that shit covered.
No expense. Oh no, what is that?
Spare no expense.
Right.
Yeah,
no expense.
like John Hammond in Jurassic Park. They spare no expense.
Yeah, now keep in mind now though that Bilderberg would be more security presence observed. I think they would bring out all the super high tech stuff for that.
But Bohemian Grove
is more corporate members and like legates of all of the power structures. So even though you have ex-presidents and senators and some fairly high-powered members, they are protected by their standard Secret Service or standard security personnel. The Grove itself, I'm thinking like based on what Mike did when he came back and what Kyle did when he came back, is there's some cameras and there's some electronic sensors, and that's it. Now this year there was some snipers though, so
snipers.
Wait a minute,
that's an upgrade.
Like just posted up in the trees.
Yeah, I did not see them myself.
You're not supposed to.
They might have either been
not
really well hidden, or
they're
perhaps
just not worried about the guys at the
there
gate.
Specifically, when I was there, but when the Grove, the new footage that came out, he clearly saw the snipers that were there, and we also saw a much different security footprint as well. So,
wow,
man. Okay, so
and I mean, there's always the chance that they guard Bilderberg closer
because
that's
that's where the real policies happen,
right? And then
they go
Bohemian
party.
Grove is just their fuck it. We're gonna go out in the woods and get drunk and
bang each other
or whatever. So maybe they don't need to be as tight. I don't know. Like, is there super secrets going on, or is it just hey, we want to go out and hang out with dudes and fuck 12-year-old boys and
you're
be
way
hammered for
hold on a second.
3 weeks?
You're jumping
getting
way
ahead of us.
You're jumping way ahead of us.
You guys asked me what my personal view about the Grove is, right?
What is your personal view on the Grove?
So maybe that would be a good segue because from what I've read, and that's really what my ability, to discern the information, is there was probably a lot more ritualistic and maybe what you call like male prostitutes, male escorts, type of what Nixon was talking about, the whole gay thing that was going on there.
Funniest thing I ever saw.
So that was most likely happening, okay? And then the account of Paul Bonacci, and I think you guys will probably get into that at some point.
Yes, we will.
But the whole account of Paul Bonacci, when he said he went to the Grove, he mentioned a grove of redwood trees. I don't have any doubt it was Bohemian Grove. Probably not during encampment, though. So there's also notes about, I think, in fact, Mary Moore just came out with this, where she was saying, there's the conspiracy theorists are talking about dungeons underneath the Bohemian Grove and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't personally believe that because there's no evidence to suggest that. I believe that they are doing an encampment, and I believe that the cremation of care is a ritual, but it's not obviously a human baby. Now, whether or not they've ever done that, who knows? I doubt it. I mean, but we know that satanic rituals happen, and they do happen with live children. I mean, child abduction.
I don't want to think of that, but it's probably true.
Well, all right. So if you're what is it? A Grove,
a
Bohemian Grove protester, or what's the term we were?
What's a good title for you? What would you say about, like, if we were talking to you about Bohemian Grove? Are you a Bohemian Grove expert,
protester, or what?
Expert, activist? What would you? What's your preferred nomenclature?
I always tell people that I'm a Bohemian Grove researcher, and I say that I'm a journalist. Okay. In truth, it's more like I'm somewhere between a reporter and a prophet, so I don't know.
So what have you got? Like, what has made like? I guess are you even staunchly against, or I mean, are you out there like this has to fucking stop?
Yeah.
Or, like what?
Or do you want more like transparency kind of?
Or is it just we need to know what's going on? Where do you stand on it? And what if it's like a protest? Fuck this. There's shit. Like, what do you have to make you feel this way? I mean, what's?
Oh, absolutely, sure. I mean, I can give you a really good example of this.
Okay, perfect.
The vegan people who actually get very large numbers of people at the Grove in previous years, they're doing real protesting. They've got big, huge signs and people yelling and stuff like that. But guess what? At the end of the day, and at 2017, after 20 years of them protesting in front of the grave, that's very funny.
Yeah.
What's happened? I mean, the Grove is still there. There's still people meeting at the Grove, and there's still power and influence happening at the Grove. So no amount of protesting is obviously going to get these people to stop going to that, right? So I figure I'm going to take a smart approach, and we've had signs before, but those signs are mostly for people that come there to get more information about what's going on.
Right.
Get it on the internet, get it on videotape, and get people to understand about it. I mean, podcasts like yours will get people to understand there's something more going on than what's on, CNN.
Fucking
okay?
right.
That's kind of what we hope, is that with alternate media, or what we just call media now, I'm thinking we'll just call ourselves media.
Yeah, sure.
Because people are looking around for what's really happening. And I'm at the Grove. I'm there talking to people, so I'm a real person just sitting there, happy to talk to people.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. I think any good news reporter, any good journalist, is going to have their feet on the ground and willing to talk to people about the subject they're interested in.
But why not just go inside? Like, I want you to do it for me next year.
Oh no.
Do it for me, man. Go to the Grove next year. Wear yourself. You can go to the Spy store. Do it for the show, man. Maybe by next year we could pay you to do it.
Well,
but
no,
you should go
We'll have
there.
branded T-shirts for him to wear.
No,
sure,
dude.
I was more just wondering, like, what is it? What is the beef against it? Like, what is your actual?
Yeah, what is so
anti-Grove
wrong
stance?
with? Yeah, what's so wrong with people going to Bohemian Grove, in your opinion?
Like, what's going on there that we're?
Oh, you mean the members that attend? You mean?
Or sure, yeah. Like, what are you there? Like, are you there because there's nefarious things going on, or do you think we should just know what these guys are talking about? Like, what is your stance that makes you go there?
Good question.
And research it. Like, what are your feelings about what's fucked up about the Grove?
Tell us.
Absolutely. So the main thing that I personally feel is worthwhile for me to put my effort towards this is that there is a large congregation of power and influence that make its way to the Grove each year.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's hundreds of these power and influence power brokers that make it there. And the only news media that talks about it was way back in the 70s. And there's been no news coverage since then. And then, the Press Democrat in Sonoma has a small little article about it in recent years, okay? That's the only news coverage that's been there. If you had 40, now we're talking about 300 or more members. There's what is it, 3,000? I don't know. There's lots of members that show up.
Yeah,
it's over 1,000.
It's over 2,000 members.
Yeah, but how many actual power brokers are there, right? There's probably not that many power brokers, but there's probably a huge number.
Several hundred.
Let's say you had 40 NBA stars show up in a grove of redwood trees somewhere and keep it all secret. And then one day ESPN finds out about it and goes, what the heck is going on? These stars are out in the middle of nowhere. What are they talking about? They would have 40 reporters sitting in front of the Grove asking what's going on and why they aren't allowed to come in and talk to the members. And then the NBA stars literally do nothing. They literally don't talk about it.
They deny it.
Right.
They deny it.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
And then if they do say something about it,
you make a good point.
Say, "Oh, I was just at the Grove. peeing on redwood trees, you'd be like, bullshit. You're wrong.
Right.
There's no way. I want to know why you're doing this. And are all of our NBA games rigged now?
And this isn't even just sports. This is, like the world and business and
that's correct.
The well-being of everybody in the world.
Everybody's way of life.
But see, the sad thing, though, is
nothing important like sports. Nothing like that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to read you, and it's very quick.
Go ahead.
This is from, by the way, once again, the video. It's from Bohemian Grove from Mark Dice, which is a...
Mom, man!
Roll the dice.
Mark Dice. Dude, we love Mark Dice here, BTW. Just let's preface this real quick, is that we love Mark Dice, and on our last episode, we played just about every clip that he had.
Where he was John from San Diego?
Yeah. Where he was John from San Diego.
He knows. He's nodding knowingly.
And since the beginning of this show, we have done a segment called Rolling the Dice, where we play a little segment of Mark Dice, and he's done some great work on Bohemian Grove. I'm sort of disappointed in him right now because we called him bandwagon because he was all Bohemian Grove, and then when Trump started to run for president, he was all Trump, and he jumped on that bandwagon. Now, I want to hear him get back to his goddamn roots and talk about the the Resistance Manifesto. He's not talking about Bohemian Grove right now. Or he didn't talk about Bilderberg either.
But he did at one point, and that's what Sean's trying to tell us about.
No,
Let's get back to that.
I get that. I do want to.
I see what you're doing.
I'm trying to lead it back to the guest here.
We'll get back to him, but we'll get back to it. But I do want to just say we love Mark Dice here.
Sorry.
Take it easy. All right. We do love. Okay, he derailed it enough. Sean, give us a...
Can we go back to what you were trying to say like 20 minutes ago?
Go back.
Yeah, absolutely. So since you gave an introduction into Mark Dice, I'll say that I did meet Mark Dice at a convention back when he was doing his first book, Resistance Manifesto. I have a pre-release copy by him, and I've been following him ever since. But Mark Dice says this about the Grove. He says, when the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world, from heads of industry to high-ranking government officials and those who work in intelligence agencies, all meet together to hang out and listen to off-the-record lectures given by a variety of experts and insiders, it is an undeniable that this has a tremendous impact on the society as a whole.
I agree.
And just
100%.
Just kind of think about that for a minute. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about not just power and influence.
But these are publicly elected officials, for the most part.
There are publicly elected officials that go, I'm very sure. But I believe that most of these people are representing corporations, NGOs, and there are government agencies as well that are represented here. When you say elected officials, I wonder though exactly how many actual elected officials come. We just this year, in fact, were told, and I think this is in the popular media, a couple of the books that were written. It says that the Grove actually doesn't allow elected officials to come to the Grove.
Really?
Now I don't know if that's just at the federal level.
Like currently elected or like past and you know what I mean?
No, just currently elected, currently serving members
so
of the federal government.
Okay.
All the tales of like every president in the past, however long, has been there. Is that they went there before, and that's how they got elected?Maybe
no, after they were president.
It was after. Okay.
Well, Nixon was there before he was elected.
Nixon and Reagan. It's alleged
allegedly.
Yeah, it's alleged that whoever was going to run first in that election, which ended up being Nixon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I thought possible. I think Nixon might have been the exception to that.
Okay.
In fact, it's funny. The main security guard, his name is Tony at the Grove.
Tony at the Grove.
Tony, yeah. He says that he's has worked at the Secret Service and CIA, but we don't know. But he was mentioning, of course, the Bushes and Nixon that's been there.
The hillbillies
and the hillbilly camp, yeah. But I thought that was kind of where the next president was selected.
Yeah.
No, that's Bilderberg.
Is it Bilderberg where that happens?
You're right, because Bill Clinton went to one in...
just blew this whole... Because we've been talking about Bohemian Grove.
I thought it was Bohemian Grove that made the new presidents and who they're running
What
with.
about Trump?
No.
Sean, do you believe that Trump attends the Bilderberg, or is he truly an outsider getting into the politics?
Idiot, no matter what.
Well, he's an idiot, no doubt, but...
The only information I have, of course, is just scouring the news media. But from what I've heard, I think he's an outsider. I don't think that he has any really ties to the DC insider government.
He's outside, across the Trans-Siberian
Orchestra?
The
railroad.
Yeah, he's that outside. He's so outside. He's deep red. That's how outside he is.
He's pretty outside what's happening. And it's interesting because you talk about pedophile networks and so forth. And he's been very public about what he's doing with those pedophile networks. And if you look at all the arrests that are happening around the country, the arrests of pedophile networks are actually rising right now. And there are actual there's, let's say, undercover groups that are actually working against these pedophile networks.
These fucking vampire goblins fucking hobbling around, dude. I'm telling you.
Keeping babies alive.
It's serious, dude.
All right. Reel it in.
Well, no, those dude, we don't talk about it enough.
That's an Alex Jones rant they're referencing, by the way.
Yeah. Well, he says that pedophiles are vampire goblins.
That's right.
Preying on fucking
because
people.
They're preying on their energy.
Yes.
They're pure. Yeah, I mean it's
like Prince Philip and the whole Saxe Cobra Gotha gang, right?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure,
there,
why
that
not?
Sounds good enough for me, man. Holy
royalty.
We'll get back to you on that one.
From Transylvania. Did you guys know that?
No, tell me more.
I'll tell you what. I think they do serve meatballs.
Yeah. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, right? The whole Prince Philip crowd. Actually, they were born in Transylvania. Those guys are, like Austrian, and if you look at the history of the ruling crowd over there, they actually came from the lineage of Transylvania.
Vlad.
You want to talk about Vlad the Impaler?
They're coming from Vlad. God damn it! They're vampires.
And not the sparkly kind.
Explains why they're so pasty.
Funny. But yeah, we're talking about vampires and why do vampires exist? And you like that ties into pedophilia because it's all about the young blood and the prepubescent energy, and
just like Kirsten Dunst in Interview with a Vampire.
Never saw it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Tommy Wiseau is a pedophile. He's a vampire.
That got weird.
I don't think he's a pedophile.
That never crossed my mind.
I thought this
many,
interview was about Bohemian Grove.
There are many people. Well,
I'm sorry.
Pedophiles are vampires, is what you guys were trying to say there for a second.
I mean, I never alleged Tommy Wiseau was a vampire, though. I just said that he had great hair.
But I'm trying to say that's my theory. He's a vampire.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And I'm just going to let you know.
Let's reel it back in. I'm
letting you know that he's not a pedophile.
Okay.
That I know of.
I'm glad that you know that.
Although Danny was a weirdo.
All right. Danny. So if we got through our questions that we wanted to ask, and now we had actual topics to discuss.
Yeah,
with our guest.
Start it off, Nick.
Right?
Yeah, go for it.
We wanted to discuss the Larry Williams thing.
Larry Williams.
King.
Larry King, sorry. I fucked it up.
Yep.
So we know.
Right?
Okay, so when we talk about what happens at the Grove, there is a little known story about a man called Paul Benassi. And he was involved with the Lawrence King sex scandal that happened in Franklin. I think that's close to Nebraska, maybe. But it involves...
close to Nebraska?
Yeah, Nebraska.
Like this one town's close to an entire state somehow?
Well, okay, take it easy, all right?
Boys Town.
Well, Boys Town is what I want to get to. Yeah. Is that he had ties with people in Boys Town where he would get these troubled youths, and he would take them.
What's a youth?
And he would basically make them do prostitute stuff. And Larry King was also known to do the he wasn't going to do prostitute laundry. Ain't no hose. Hoes got to do their laundry too. But so there's this thing where Paul Benassi is talking about, and this comes from Senator John DeCamp, who was a lawyer for Paul Benassi and what's her name? But she was convicted of perjury when talking about this Franklin scandal thing here. But then she was released, and then anyways, in this diary, Paul Benassi is talking about going to the Grove in January at first, and then again in the middle of July. First he goes to Dallas, then he goes to what seems like the Redwood Forest to him, a couple hours north of San Francisco, where some heinous things are happening. We'll play this clip right now. Man, that is a graphic clip.
Wow. That... Man,
told you.
Talk about giving me the chills. I won't be the same after that.
Dude, and a lot of people that were investigating this Franklin sex scandal, they were like, I can't believe this. And it proves, and if you ever watched that documentary on Netflix about Johnny, the milk carton kid. Well, remember the milk carton kid? Remember that on the milk cartons they would have like missing children on it?
It was the same one every time?
Well, no, it was the original one.
He's the one who started the trend. He was the milk carton kid before it was cool to be the milk carton.
God.
It's never cool to be the milk carton
Like
kid.
Mr. Rogers and cardigans.
So he comes back about 15 years later after being missing and tells his mother. And this is all on fucking camera.
No, he came back a couple times, didn't he? Like he had a couple interactions with his mom,
and
right?
told his mother all about this child pedophilia ring. Take it easy. Take it easy, all right? You're derailing this, but talks about this child pedophilia ring, and it's associated to the Lawrence King ring, which
everybody's motioning.
Yeah,
I'm just saying we got a guest sitting right here. So we brought this up. Like, hey, do you know anything about this being in?
You're killing me.
I'm
here,
sure
Smalls.
he's very well aware. He doesn't need the history lesson.
Just let you know, this is all being edited out because Nick's a dick.
I just didn't want our guests to sit there aimlessly
Dude,
while you
I was
rambled
like
about
two
the Paul
sentences
Benassi
away from going right back into Paul Benassi and hollering at him, and you have to be Mr. Director over here.
No, that's a great intro, actually.
See, thank you. Nick, you
Damn it, Sean, come on!
Yes. Nick, you can go and sit back in your little chair, why don't you go get a beer and let the adults talk over here, okay?
No, I think I think it's important.
Get back on the
it's
fucking
definitely
thing.
important because I believe if these pedophilia rings aren't connected directly, they're going to all be connected indirectly because that's kind of how they not just direct their energy but direct their tasks, right? So
That's right.
you have to meet each other on the dark web, or you have to before the web you'd have like networks of people that would meet each other and they would run around the country and
how do they do this shit? Like, it's been going on for hundreds of years. So how in the 1800s, how do they do this shit?
Hieroglyphics.
Okay, take it easy.
I'm sure they were beyond hieroglyphics.
You would just meet people and you would just go around the country and meet people, and it would be a part of your network. It's the way the Bilderberg group started. I mean, they didn't have internet back when the Bilderberg group started. I mean, they wrote books and stuff, and then they wrote public documents and
did they hide code in it like Dan Brown Da Vinci Code style? Like, was it?
No, they coded it like pizza. Like, I want to have a sausage with mozzarella cheese and stuff like that. And those are actual terms that come from FBI investigations of these pedophilia rings.
Wow.
It's kind of like how the Christians use, the fish symbol back in the old days to identify themselves. Well, the pedophilia networks have their own symbols that they identify themselves with too.
Well,
I'm not an expert in it.
Well, hold up a second here. I doubt that pedophiliacs, I guess we could call them.
Pedophiles?
Oh.
I mean, if only there was a word to specifically
If there was
describe
only
that.
a specific word for pedophiles, it'd be awesome. But pedophiles, do they want to be pedophiliacs? I think that's actually a cooler word. If they,
it makes it sound cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Now you're going too far.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're going too far, Brandon. It's just a cooler sounding word. Okay. Anyways, not that it's okay. Take it easy. But I doubt that they want to be identified.
No, but they need to communicate.
But they need code words so
that's
that
what
they
I was
can.
saying. Like,
and
they
that's
needed
why this
a way to
thing.
communicate and for their communication to spread, but secretively.
You made me defend pedophilia for a second, and I hate you for that.
So I'm sure
I agree with that because you have to be able to say some code words to be able to like say, this guy, kind of knows the same information.
But when you call someone a pizza, they kind of get the idea when you call someone a pepperoni pizza.
Be pizza. Like if you're in the know, like it's one thing to I want to order a male hooker, but like I want to be involved in the fucking ring.
Mm-hmm. I want to.
That's when you got to get into real shit. That's, I mean, I feel that there's some serious code going on there, other than. I want a large with extra cheese,
extra sausage.
It's not like Porky's when you order off the secret menu.
That's just I need a boy to my room, But like to get involved in the actual workings of it, I mean that's got to be a completely different.
I'm sure there's like a punch card system, right? You've got to have so many before.
I don't know. That's Jared from Subway.
And there's no bigger proof than Jared from Subway.
That's
Well,
and then eventually smaller proof.
All right, Nick, you got it today, my man.
Sorry,
but Sean, all right, we're drawing close to this end of this thing, man. So we know about some famous people that have gone to the Grove. Walt Disney has gone to the Grove before, and I did want to touch on that for a moment. So do you have some good information that we can that you can share with our listeners about Walt Disney going to the Grove, because he was an actual member, maybe long before, and I don't think
he just pulled out a different book. He's ready for this.
Let's do it.
This book right here is
Dole Care.
Dole Care by Greg Fernandez.
Dole Care. Greg Fernandez.
He's someone that I know.
I love that you have books.
Yes. I know.
That's the best thing. Nobody has books. And let me tell you a little quick story real quick here, Sean. We have a conspiracy theory bookshop in town. It's called Brave New Books. Thank you for ruining the goddamn story. You're so bad at storytelling sometimes. But we were trying to get in there, just do a live show, because we're right up the alley of those people. And they had one location, and then it moved to another location, and they moved out of that location. There's some sort of conspiracy involving them that they're being run out of town somehow, or perhaps there's not enough people buying their conspiracy books, which is also probably a concern. They can't pay the rent, but
maybe the rent is just too unaffordable.
The rent's too damn high, party.
But the rent's too damn high, party. Well, I did go over there because I wanted to buy these books that you're holding on to, Sean.
Yes.
These books that you have, they're tangible things written by real goddamn people. For instance, the Dole Care book that he's about to give us a little bit, or even Bohemian Grove by Mark Tice. These are some of these books that I'd like to hold in my hand. And our little bookstore, I want to shout out to those Brave New Books out there. Come on, boys. Come on back. We want you here. There's some people. I'm not going to pay your rent, but I do want some of your books.
He's going to let you put up a flagship store right here in his living room.
Right here in his living room.
All right.
So Reed's, we were talking about Walt Disney. Sorry to derail it, but I just have to sometimes. Walt Disney. Walt Disney visited the Grove at one point.
And he wanted to talk about the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me, I'll put my plug in for Half Price Books.
Yes.
So I actually get a lot of used stuff there. And then there's this thing called the Internet.
Oh, never heard of it.
And the Internet has things like Lulu. And that's where you can find Dole Cares on Lulu. And then like Amazon, right, is like, the big corporate giant. But they have everything, right? Just have it shipped right to your door.
But the government will know that you have it now.
Oh, I love that. In fact, if I'm not on a list already, I'm not paying my taxes well enough, okay?
I love you, Sean. Keep going, buddy. Keep telling us more.
I want to be on a list. I don't use the scanners at the airports either, so I always
ask for the search?
I do the pat down, so I know I'm on a list somewhere. So
that is good fucking news there.
All right, so let's get back to Walt Disney.
Yes,
so
please.
Essentially, we're talking about Walt himself. In 1936, he was invited to the annual encampment of the Bohemian Club, wrote Bob Thomas, a San Francisco organization of artists and civic figures.
Matchbox 20.
Of course, we know more than that, of course, but this is a quote. The ritual consisted of whining, feasting, and camping out in the Redwood Grove north of San Francisco. Okay, so then it goes on to say about how Walt, when he returned to his studio, he complained of being unable to sleep because of the symphony of snores in his nearby tents. So
That's right.
what do you think is going to come next, right? The dwarf's cottage and you know,
Sleepy.
now if you go back to the original video, I'll show you on screen here. You can find this in the book of this right here with the dwarves right there.
He's showing us a picture of the dwarfs here.
Okay, and so right under there on the stairs is a picture of the Bohemian owl.
You can see on the stairwell behind the dwarves that what's carved into the wood that are the steps are actually
that is correct. It's an owl. That's
owls.
Correct.
Oils.
Which is
correct.
Which is the mascot of the Bohemian Club.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then here's Duck, right?
That's
a very defeated looking
That looks
duck.
like Scrooge.
Scrooge
That's
McDuck.
Scrooge the Duck. And if you look behind,
Looking
there's a
awful
hanging
forlorn.
on the wall
You can
called
see.
"Ask About the Illuminati."
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, that's
that.
right. It's like when you go to a
Like an
optometrist.
eye chart.
When you go to exactly an eye
Yeah,
chart,
eye
and it
chart.
says "Ask Illuminati" on it. I saw that shit. That is some crazy.
So does that mean?
crazy?
Wait, does this mean that Disney went there and was like, "This shit's fucked up," and he started planning stuff to get people, like, to wake people up?
That's what it seemed like to
So
me.
I'm
is
behind
he,
that
is
one.
He,
I'm
no, is
behind
he
that.
like, is he part of it, or is he like, man, that shit was crazy. I'm gonna start planting shit in my movies to wake the fucking public up to this.
Well, I
Possible.
think the time that he went there in the 30s, that it wasn't overtaken by Republicans just yet, or the the political.
It was still
elite.
Burning Man 1.0.
It was 1.0 Burning Man, and he went there and just there were people that were more open because it was unfucking known. Now people are like, oh shit, is that Alex Jones in
right,
the
but
bush or whatever?
he immediately went to Illuminati, so that means that obviously
Well,
Illuminati is
he
involved.
must have saw something or heard something there that was like, oh man, these guys are not like me. I have as much money as them, but
So what do we think, Sean? Is it
What
is
is
he is he furthering their thing, or is he trying to call out? Is he planting
No.
symbols for us to like?
what's the agenda here?
From the research I've done, I'm pretty sure that there's competing factions of the Illuminati. There's competing factions of the elite. I think Disney was one of the competing factions. Disney had his own issues with, I don't know what you call, like eugenics and white supremacy and stuff like that. But the Disney family, if you go all the way up into Roy Disney, they're not. Let's just say they're not the conservative family that you would think that they would be, based on the movies and everything that they put out. So
Absolutely.
I'm not an expert in Disney, but I've read enough things and like verified through a couple different sources that it's clear that Disney himself was not this wholesome animator. That,
Oh sure.
I think.
But what was his motivation for putting shit like that into his
in your
into his
opinion.
scenes? Was he like trying
There's
to?
There's a concept that these people go through where they need to tell people about what they're planning for society. And when you're kind of dug in with the Illuminati, you have to tell people what you're doing. It doesn't suggest that you have to tell them like in plain English. You can hide it, you can subvert it, you can put it in white papers, and you can put it in little tiny books and stuff like that, right? But essentially, you tell people about what you're doing. Now, whether Disney or not did that on purpose, I can't say, right? Because I have no idea.
Well, I would.
But it leads me to believe, though, that based on several of the hidden images that Disney puts in their films, they're a little too common to suggest that they're done by accident.
Totally.
Right,
So
yes.
It's
Right,
intentional.
but what I was asking is he pro or con? Like, is he calling them out? Like when he has the eye chart saying "Ask Illuminati," is it, hey, everybody, look into this shit, and trying to wake the public up, or is he just doing his Illuminati?
No,
elite
I don't
duty?
think. I mean, Disney never went out of his way to wake anybody up. I think that it's in there. If it's in there
As
to
part of
bring
his elite
attention,
duty.
Further the agenda.
yeah,
I don't
maybe
wanna-
it's there to bring attention to the other people.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't
All
want.
right.
I don't want to disrespect, but I absolutely think I believe that was a way of him telling people to look into Illuminati, like ask Illuminati, like ask, like say it, like ask Illuminati. What's Illuminati? Ask it.
Ask it to who?
But to
Anybody,
anyone,
everybody.
just like it was like a way of opening minds to say, hey, you should be asking this. Ask Illuminati. Would you know about Illuminati if it wasn't for your boy Los on this show? Might not.
I've never read Dan Brown or anything ever before.
So when
it
was the
purely
first time you
because
heard of
you?
So he's the only reason you've heard of
No,
Illuminati?
that was sarcasm.
Oh.
No, I mean those guys got it from Myron Fagan and stuff like that, right? So I mean,
And this goes into ancient script. You hear about Illuminati and stuff. This goes
Sure.
back a long fucking way. So okay, let's wrap it up here. Sean, you've been amazing, dude. Now let me ask you one last thing,
And very
dude.
patient.
You've been patient because I do get off on my tangents sometimes at times. Will you next year or even this year? There's still a week left. There's still a week and a half left of this. Will you sneak into the Grove for us? Is there any way we can get you to sneak into the Grove and produce some video for us? Is there any way?
that's not my personal calling in life. I would say though that there are plenty of people that I talk to, and I get tidbits of information on things that they do, and like this guy that the End World Times that came out with the new drone video.
Yes. Well, he put out the deeper inside the Bohemian Grove videos that I showed these boys, and he's on the front line about saying Alex Jones
Lied.
He lied.
Full of shit.
He actually
He's
was
been in
invited to
several
the
times.
Grove. He is an actual Bohemian Grove member.
So I have a piece of information about that.
Tell
you
me.
say that he was invited by a member?
I don't know if he was invited by a member. We don't know.
Well, you
that.
need to be invited by two.
It
He
might
did
have
not get.
No,
It might have been Bohemian
so I
Kyle.
have that information, by the way.
Oh my god.
Oh my-
Here
yes.
we go. Here we go.
So Alex Jones was most likely invited by the BGAN members and Mary Moore's group.
So
Okay.
okay, wait a minute. Tell me who Mary Moore is. You've mentioned her a couple times. I'm not familiar with.
Women aren't
That's no, that's the actor, isn't it? Mary Tyler Moore, right?
No,
Oh,
no.
oh.
No,
I
no,
thought
no,
she
no.
had a big action
So,
group against
She's
it.
a
You look up-
researcher.
Yeah, if you look up in Sonoma County, there's a researcher by the name of Mary Moore. She's been doing it for decades. Mostly, it started out with nuclear, research and stuff like that. But she had, I guess, Alex contacted her. He was looking for local support, found them, and it was Mike Hansen that set it up, right?
Okay.
And they came out, and she basically and her group basically gave them information on how to infiltrate the Grove, basically. And
well, his
so
videos.
based on that, he was able to get in. Now, I believe
Tell me.
is that based on what Mike Hansen has said, and even what Alex has said, like, under his breath and everything, is that, I mean, it was back in 2000, right? So
Yes.
this was well before the Grove probably thought anybody was going to infiltrate or anything. And so security was a little bit lax. They weren't looking out specifically for a certain person. Alex wasn't even known back then to anybody outside of radio, right? So he was able to get in with him and Mike because nobody knew who they were. So Alex's video really kind of blew the door off of it because of it hadn't been done before. So you're asking about infiltration. Now, Alex in the video, there's all kinds of crazy, even I'll call conspiracy theories about the Bohemian Grove, because it's very clear that even in the video, the members that are attending cremation of care are chanting and like moving back and forth and everything based on this ritual. But you know what? That's where it ends right there, right? Because you could clearly see that it was an effigy of a baby. It wasn't a real baby, obviously.
Sure.
And
But then
it was
how
a
do they
play.
get back out?
We're getting there.
What's that?
I was
Well,
just
he
saying,
was-
how do they get back out?
Well, he
What
wa-
happened after that?
Well,
What-
basically, Nick's saying is that we watch the cremation of care on Alex Jones' video. We show it, and then boom, it flashes to him in a car and back in Austin, Texas, saying he's like, oh, blah 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 blah. Now, what we want to know here is that did he spend the fucking night there? There's no video of him sneaking back out. There's no evidence that he didn't stay the whole fucking 3.5 weeks. We don't know any of this shit.
Yeah.
And this is
I hung out and I had a lot of good drinks. I had some conversations.
Well, it could. I mean, no, you're right. I mean, there isn't any video, right? So, of course, it is possible that happened. I personally don't believe that he was invited by a member, but I mean, that's just
why not,
because
though?
of maybe what I've seen.
Why
over
don't
the
you
years.
believe that, though?
Why don't I?
Yeah.
Probably because of what Mary told me, because she had very specific details about how he got into the Grove, and
well,
I wasn't
we all
allowed
see
to
how
video.
we all see how he got onto the Grove. So he was able to drive up Bohemian Drive or Bohemian Grove Drive, like Avenue, right? So like there's a spot where you stop, and like Google Maps won't let us go up there, but you go up, and that's supposedly where the entrance is, and it's right next to the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And where he got off, and there's a video of the
50
feet, more or less.
and it's the same YouTuber that you were just telling us about, the deep inside the grove there, and he says he only walked 50 feet. He said, and Alex Jones says that it was 30 minutes.
30-minute hike. We had to hike for 30 minutes.
He walked around the parking lot, which we clearly see the parking lot. There's no doubt.
You can see it from the video that he shot.
There's
It's in the background.
There's
It's not even. It's not even 50 feet. I mean, if it's 15 feet, it's barely that. So, I mean, I've physically been there. I've actually walked into the forest where the Grove is. There's a fence now. There's a fence there, so I'm not hopping the fence, but you can clearly walk off the pavement into the forest, and you can see, you can see the parking lot. Now, if you go around and you go up by where the homeowners are, I mean, you'd be going through private property once again. So, once again, you're violating somebody's private property. But you could go up and around the private property and down into the parking lot with very little effort. So that there's really relatively no issue that he got in there that way.
So there's no issue of him getting there. So he goes all the way up to this river point, which in the map that we obtained and we watched, that he went to this river or this outlook place, which is all the way through all the camps. All through the camps, goes
to
north,
the other end of the
and he gets
road.
upstairs. He gets up where he says he was stopped again by some people, and he walked back and he saw a bank of TVs and shit and wires in the forest. And we don't, of course, we don't see that. It wasn't videotaped.
How convenient!
How convenient!
Well, there's actually video of the surveillance gear that's in the Grove.
So
Kyle went back. Kyle went back into the Grove, and there is surveillance gear that he clearly showed on video. Now, once again, Kyle didn't go during encampment, right? He went during the off time, but he clearly found the surveillance gear in there. And my guess is throughout the years, that's become more high tech.
I would believe that. Absolutely. So, and Alex Jones also now has come out maybe about a year or two ago saying that there was a third person who was with him.
Yes.
And
not only was there a third person, but he's been in there more than once.
Yes. And well, he also said, I've been in there more than once.
Yeah, well, that's the foreign journalist guy, right? I forget his name off the top of my head, but
he's from the BBC, I think, wasn't he?
He's from
the
BBC.
Ron Johnson, John Ronson, something like that?
Oh, Ronson, yes, very good. Yeah, it's Ronson.
See?
And yes, and he was there. They left him out of the original video. Now, of course, this is the only piece of information that we have is because it came from Alex, but basically Ronson said he didn't want his name to appear in the original.
Which I totally get.
I can understand that.
But again, why don't you say, hey, me and Mark and Anonymous?
Well, then you're going to have...
Ronson, in fact, was live after the second infiltration, and they did come out in an interview, and Ronson acknowledged that he was there at the beginning and does have his own footage of the event. And then there was something, I heard the third interview as well, something about he's going to revisit the Grove and write another story about it with his original footage. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's up to Ronson, right?
You're right, absolutely. And let me I'm going to leave it with this with Bohemian Grove before we end it off. Here's the biggest thing, and I don't think anyone's ever talked about it, about his video, is that Alex Jones hopped into the little Bohemian Club cart, and it took him into the actual Grove. At any point, if you see Alex Jones, there is not one sign of him holding onto a piece of luggage. in the beginning of Grove, where everyone's supposed to be staying for 2.5 weeks, he's not holding on to a luggage of any size.
Like,
no duffel bag, no
security's
nothing.
gonna be like, oh, you're here for the visit and you've got nothing on
exactly
you
is what
at
I'm
all?
thinking here.
He's like a photon. He's traveling light.
I mean, is that something that
nerdist
Well, that's-
joke.
is there
Actually, that's handled by the valets in your car.
So he left his bags with the
He
people.
left them with the valet.
Well, we're talking
I've
about
actually seen. Yeah, I've talked to the valets. Actually, I've talked to the drivers and everything. So they actually drop them off, and they don't have anything on them except usually like they have a hat to
So it
protect
makes
their
sense.
like their head.
sure
Because it is a grove, so you don't want pine and shit coming down on your head, right? So most of them wear hats when they're in the grove, and then they usually just have like stuff in their pockets because the valets take care of everything else.
I can see how. Yeah. Okay.
well, man,
Now, I don't know if that's the actual case, but that's what I've seen. So
which
that's why
I
it makes
totally
sense.
get, and that's not what I'm even talking about. Like once you're in the Grove,
No,
I totally
right,
get why
but
you're not holding
By
on
the
to
time
stuff. but-
people were accosting Alex Jones, he wouldn't have any bags with him because
Sure.
his bags would have been left
because
with
he's
valets.
inside the Grove already,
Right,
and
so he wouldn't have.
But
they don't
we're
expect him
talking
to have any
about from
bags.
the moment that we see him walk and wait 30 minutes. and
Okay,
then
but
hop
when
in,
he first comes across someone that might catch him,
which is never on fucking film, by the way.
But see,
Well,
that's what I
alright.
find weird. Okay, so supposedly he trekked 50 feet, 30 minutes through some woods and over like a man-made moat and onto the boat. Like, you would be at least a little bit dirty and ruffled, wouldn't you?
Come on, no, that's like you're going a little too far. Like we're gonna in that grainy
Okay,
ass
so-
video, we're gonna see
Can I do-
dirt on
can
his
I do-
face.
Well, no, not that he would, not that it would show on the video, but that it would raise suspicion amongst other
Right.
viewers.
That he's dirty
That's
and
what
like,
I
like,
find
why are you
really
covered
weird.
in mud, man?
Yeah.
Well, there's no moat. So I think the moat that he meant is it's a moat of leaves.
A
So-
moat of leaves.
oh, come the
It's
fuck
not
on.
mud. It is a moat.
So hey,
Can I ask
Sean,
one more before we?
Please.
Can I ask one more question?
please?
All right, so this goes on for 3 weeks,
More or less.
Two,
Yeah.
2 weeks,
I
two
think.
and a half,
2
2.5
weeks.
to 3 weeks.
3 weekends.
So this Bohemian Grove, like we've Googled it. You can Google Map right up to it.
That's
You-
right.
Like it's open to the public.
Yes.
So this super secret 2,700 acre plot of land for the extreme elite or whatever for 3 weeks. What happens
off season.
the other 49 weeks?
That's a
of the
great
year?
question, Sean. What happens on the off season? Do you know?
Like
Yeah,
it's-
they rent it out for various events.
and so everybody
okay.
goes into the same cabins and they see the owl at the same lake and everything. Like you just
Yeah.
get free range of the whole.
Sounds
Or free
about
reign,
That's
not free
right.
range,
So,
but free reign.
2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, the local Monterey public school actually went there for a kids event, which is the funny thing.
Whoa.
Because of all the pedophilia networks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, but that was funny. But no, it was like a nature thing, and they took them to the Bohemian Grove, and it was like an outdoor ed type of a thing, right?
Right. I wish I
Okay.
did that back in
Yeah.
the day.
So, but
And
I'm
then
thinking
it-
like, there's the Bohemian Grove, but then there's that one mysterious road that leads. Like,
Up
I
to
mean,
the
do
Russian
they
River.
keep like that one area that's super secretive for them?
There's nothing secret about
What's
the
secretive?
owl.
No, there's nothing secretive. It's all the whole thing is public. It's just once you get into the grove, it's covered by all the trees.
Mhm.
So you're saying
can't-
like it's
Sure.
going on right now. So in like another week or two, you could drive up and go down that road and go into the encampment and go to the little man-made lake and see the owl and
Go
like
into
just
the
be
cabins with a black light and see if there's anything you can find.
well, just be all up in the secretive Bohemian Grove. I mean, obviously you're not there when they're doing the business, but they're not.
There's no shortage of pictures.
They're not
from
blocking
inside.
it off in any way. It's completely open to the public. The other 49 weeks of the year, it's just those 3
When-
weeks are no.
Well, yeah, there's a caretaker that takes care of the grove for the whole year,
His name is Willie.
and he lives in the grove. Okay, so when he's doing his stuff, you might actually find the gates open, so you could just simply drive in. And if the guy is like taking a crap or something like that, you could probably drive all the way
By
through the grove.
accident. So
That's
could you theoretically, I don't know, maybe a week or two before the Grove takes place, get in there and get into a couple cabins and plant some hidden cameras, hidden mics?
Yeah, Sean.
I mean, theoretically,
could
you?
I mean, my guess is that any of the cabins are probably going to be swept and stuff like that through standard investigative procedures.
What if you went into the far reaches of the 2,700 acres they have and set up a campsite like way back? And then you were just in there, and then once it goes on, you're already in.
Like you're waiting for a premiere of
out?
Star Wars.
Yeah,
yeah, like fucking set up camp way back in the back, and then once it's going on, you're already in there. You can just walk it and wander up.
That'd be one. Well, sure, that'd be one hell of a backpacking trip. You'd have to bring in 4 weeks. I mean, you'd have to bring in 4 weeks of food. That's a quite hefty backpacking trip.
MREs, baby.
There you go.
That's why I'm saying that I couldn't do something like that because you'd literally have to be an experienced
woodsman,
right?
To backpack
you need
in that much.
Basically, you need to be Les Stroud
or Bear Grylls. I was gonna say Bear Grylls.
Fuck Bear Grylls. He's a pussy compared to Les Stroud.
We're not gonna get into that. All right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, Sean,
I think.
Go ahead, buddy. Real quick.
No, I just think there's more to talk about with the power and influence and stuff. So. When we talk about infiltrating the Grove, it's kind of like they are going to be talking about what's happening at the lakeside chats, and that information eventually comes out. And sometimes we even know what the lakeside chats are. Like we knew about Google Glass when it was being released, and we knew about various things happening with the Italian embassy, and we knew about various initiatives happening in Silicon Valley. We know about these things happening, so it's not like. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool, I think, to maybe record the lakeside chats, but
you don't think that there's some like real secretive, nefarious shit going on there that they don't want anybody to be aware of?
Well, look at Google Glass. Let's say it was presented over at Bohemian Grove, and they pushed it to make it happen, and how big of a failure that shit was. But
how about Facebook? But Facebook's Oculus Rift is live now, so Google Glass might not be live, but Oculus Rift is.
Oh, I see. It moved names. It changed names, and it moved over, and now we have
the concept is still the same.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sean, you've been amazing, dude. Thank you for joining us, dude. You're an amazing guest. We'd love to have you on again.
I feel that he would have a lot of insight.
He's very wide-reaching
into other theories as well.
We would love to have you on every single year because we plan on doing, or at least running, our Bohemian Grove episode every year at this time. But if you have some new information or
I was thinking he
into the Grove
could probably
somehow,
chime in on stuff other than Bohemian Grove. I'm sure he's.
Well, he did mention the In the Fed thing. We just did a Fed episode.
I would definitely come back for End the Fed. So if you want to do
knows
an
more
End
than
the Fed,
Grove.
Try doing End the Fed somewhere around November 22nd, like somewhere before that.
Why?
No, November 22nd is a yearly protest in front of the Federal Reserve.
Great. That'd be great to talk to some people out there.
And then as far as the Grove goes, if you want to do this again next year, let's do it before the Grove. So like sometime in the beginning of July. That way you can use it as a
way of waking
like a rally
people.
call,
Sure.
There you go. Fucking love the way this guy thinks.
So Sean,
and then for 2020, we're going to hold a big event at the Grove, and we're hoping to get Bohemian Grove band as well. So,
well, shit. Well, Nick and I, we play music, and we would love to be
part
like
of that
great
band.
Yeah, the Bohemian Grove. Well, there's a band called the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, wait, that's not what he meant by band. That's not what he meant by band. Oh, wrong band.
Well, we can go out there. We'll still play some music about...
Well, if you guys want to come out, I'm going to put a call out for everybody. InfoWars.
Can we crash on your couch?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Can we crash on your couch or at least like a little pallet on the corner of the room somewhere?
I don't need a lot of room.
I mean, I do reporting for We Are Change, and I've done reports for InfoWars, but it would be great to see like Millie Weaver and John or something out, doing some reports out there since they kind of started the whole thing with the big publicity. And then you guys come out 2020 as well. Let's have a big presence out there.
Sick.
Maybe spend a few days out there. So
Sean,
real
quick, I did want to ask this real quick. Did you see any InfoWars presence this year while you were protesting?
No, just me.
It was just you out there. Nobody else was interested.
No. I mean, there was several of us out there, but as far as InfoWars, there was no
InfoWars presence.
No paid personnel from InfoWars.
Can you believe that?
InfoWars hasn't been out there at all. They've only been out there for 2012, I think. Who was it? It wasn't Millie because she wasn't part of it yet.
Owen Troyer.
Oh no, I know who it was. It was the other girl, right? The one that's on break right now.
Okay. I don't know the
I don't know why I can't
reporter's
remember
name.
her name.
Well, hang
That's
on.
horrible.
You mentioned 2012 was a big year for a turnout. Why was 2012 so big?
Yeah.
It was just the right time. There was a lot of Occupy protests happening that year.
Okay. Yeah,
and
that
I
makes
think
sense.
that Occupy took advantage of it.
Okay.
And
I think they thought the world was ending.
and just like everybody converged on the Grove, and that just happened to be the year that I had some crazy conflict that I couldn't be there, and it was just stupid. But anyways,
Maybe they just said that to make you feel like worse for not being able to make it there.
Yeah. So, anyways, I even paid. A lot of us paid for like Mark Dice to come up and stuff like that.
Oh, don't pay that motherfucker. I love him, but don't pay him. You know, if he really wants to go out to Bohemian Grove, he'll go out there, which I've seen lots of videos with him.
Right.
Sean Ackley, man, thank you so much for joining us on Emergency Exit. Do you have any plugs, anything our listeners would like to, maybe they want to listen more?
No, I mean, when it comes to Bohemian Grove, I mean, we have the Bohemian Grove Action and Resistance on Facebook, which is our primary page. We decided not to spend a lot of money with, doing anything else.
Good.
And then the other site is called resisttyranny.com. I don't do much with that site, but that's kind of how you can reach me is through resisttyranny.com and then our Facebook page.
Great, man.
Awesome. Awesome.
And last thing here, any parting words for our listeners? And we're going to just go ahead and end it with your parting words.
Yeah, you gotta
absolutely.
Sign off.
So I think that the most important thing is get a couple small books. You can get them on the internet for free. Read about Bohemian Grove enough that you can tell people about it.
That's right.
The most important thing is to tell people.
Tell people about Bohemian Grove.
Tell people about it, and that it's something that you need to ask your, representatives about and find out why people are going there.
Excellent.
Right on.
Well, thank you, Sean Ackley. Give me a that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. That's kind of my saying.
That's
All right.
right.
Here we go.
Postman Paulie
Gonna give us a call. He got a stories for us all.
Can he hear it?
He can't hear it.
Can't hear it? So what the fuck? Why are we doing this?
In the mail, never seems to fail to always
I
make
don't
us
understand.
laugh.
Why are we doing this?
God damn it! You suck at just having fun, don't you?
Man, now we got to cut that in.
I'm the
post.
funnest fucking one, but I don't understand wasting our guests' time. Is
All
what
right.
I'm saying.
All right, Postman Paulie, welcome back to the show. So we talked. We talked last
Wait.
time we talked to you.
Screwing up the cadence, guys.
He was trying to say something.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay, let's try this again.
Yeah, I can hear you real good, Nick, but I'm having trouble hearing him.
Here, lay it right on top of the microphone amp there.
This?
The headphone amp, and point it towards us.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, hey,
Is that any
Postman Paulie, how you living?
I'm doing good.
You can hear us all right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
That's
Okay.
right. All right, here we go. So let's just pretend we just played your little theme song. He's a postman, Paulie, bum, bum. And then it'll say, well, look at you. Shitface. So here we are with Shitface himself again, Mr. Postman Paulie. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome, dude.
Good.
We love your story so much. We love you so much. Nick is a big part of your life, and we are now a big part of your life. So you came and told us about Shitface last time. Is there a new story you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, I was going to tell about, this was when I was still a sub many years ago.
Oh.
You were
okay.
a submarine teacher?
No.
Yeah, I was
Substitute.
still part-time.
Part-time.
And, yeah, I was part-time, and I was carrying, you had to carry a bunch of routes that you've never carried before.
Like
You
they
could get
just...
out there and get...
You show up to
lost
work in the
and-
morning and they say, you carry this route, and they just fucking, throw you into the fire.
Yes, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Right on. All right. So that's what we're dealing
And,
with. This is when Paulie got thrown in like Russell Crowe with the lion.
Right.
Just
Throwing
fucking
him in
throwing
and
it
run
out.
with it. Let's hear it.
I was way out in Arkansas in BFE, you know.
Okay.
And I pull into this trailer park. And while I'm sitting there, you know, I get out of the car and they've got like the centralized boxes, you know. And I open the doors and everything's like all out of order. Like whoever has the route just haphazardly just, I don't know if it's a cruel joke or what, but they put all the numbers just in like they drew numbers out of a hat or something and said, all right, this is 15, this is... So,
Okay.
I'm sitting there and the mail's in order, you know, like it's supposed to be, and I'm like, you know, what the hell is going on here? So, in the meantime, I'm sitting there and this lady comes up from out of nowhere, and I don't know if she didn't have a tongue or...
She didn't have it. Wait. She didn't have a tongue?
He doesn't
He
know.
doesn't know.
That's unconfirmed.
I'm not really sure what is wrong with this lady, but she just starts like screaming this high, like just screaming at me. Like I can't distinguish what she's trying to say or anything. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the mail, and then this lady's just like screaming at me.
And he starts freaking out.
Yes, I started freaking. I mean, I was freaking out. I had Alicia and that other girl, Liz, was on the phone with me too.
Yeah.
And,
by the way, we should preface to our viewers that he's always on conference with his two
conference
lady
calls.
friends.
on the mail route every day.
Postman Paul has the conference call.
Yeah, and he needs some company
Yeah.
while he's out there.
All right,
so
so she's screaming at you, and you're freaking out.
Yes, and I think Alicia was on the other. She was on the other line, and she flipped over in the middle of it.
she flipped
Mhm.
over.
In the process of going on.
And I
keep it
had
exciting.
known about that lady being there, but I forgot to tell him about it.
You
So
oh,
it made
okay.
that much more funny.
Yeah, I think that was on purpose.
Yeah. Let's break this new guy in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was doing exactly. She could probably tell you what I was doing as this was going on, because I was such in a state of shock as to what was happening. And what was happening when you flipped over?
Well, when I flipped over, all I heard was like that. That's all she does. And he was like, yeah, it's kind of like the Blair Witch scream, you know? And he was like, I don't know what the hell you want. What are you saying? He's screaming back at her. And all
Wait,
she
Paulie's
says,
screaming back at her?
Yeah. And he was like, what do you want? I don't know what you
What
want.
do you want?
Yeah, he's screaming, and then we're all on the phone and we're screaming at him. Just get in the car and drive away. Just shut the mailbox up and go away. And he was like, what do you want? And we're all screaming, and she's screaming, and he finally gets in the car and just drives away.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, so then I don't think I had to go back. I don't think I went back out there again. But another guy, like a few weeks later, his name's Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Postman Jimbo.
Yeah. And then, anyway, so he has an encounter with the lady, and then she ends up stealing. She ends up taking the mail from him. Like he set it. I don't know if he set it up on top of the boxes or something, but
Yeah, that's what he did.
Like
she
other
grabbed all
people's
the
mail? She just grabbed a
Yeah,
bunch
like
of
all
mail.
of it. She grabbed all of it.
By God, there are going to be
in
some
the trailer.
Christmas cards with checks in here. Yeah.
It's
And
July.
she ran off and locked herself in her house with it.
What the fuck?
And they had to get the supervisor to go out there, and they had to get the supervisor to go out there and get the mail from her. I don't know if they had to have the cops maybe go with him.
But she was screaming at him too.
Yeah, she is still, all she does is scream. I mean, it's no words. It's just a bunch of screaming.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's about it. Yeah, you nailed
Good
it.
impression, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm the guy that does impressions. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, that's all
So
I
that
got
was
on that
funny.
story.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That
That's
one
all
was
I
real
got.
funny.
That's all I got on that one.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
Postman.
Wait, what are you saying?
It was, I mean, that's just one of the, you never know what you're gonna
What you're gonna
across,
get?
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.